It was a few years ago when I decided to take a drive during my lunch break. As I pulled up to my house, I noticed that the garage door was open and 2 cars were parked inside, my wife's vehicle and another unknown car. My curiosity piqued. I parked across the street and made my way into the garage, which was situated below the bedrooms of our split-level home. Suddenly, the unmistakable sound of a bed creaking and muffled moans filled the air. Shocked and in disbelief, I stood there trying to process what I was hearing. In a state of quiet shock, I cautiously opened the door leading into the house and tiptoed up the stairs. From the top of the staircase, I could see down the hallway and caught sight of shadows moving on the wall outside one of the bedrooms. Not our bedrooms, not our bedroom. The sounds of sex grew louder as I crept closer, unable to tear my eyes away from the scene unfolding before me. There were gasps and moans and dirty talk, mostly coming from my wife's voice. Unable to handle any more, I crept back down the stairs, through the garage, and out to my car, which I had parked on a side street. From there, I quietly watched as they left together just 15 minutes later, oblivious to my presence or their brazen actions in broad daylight. Our marriage is beyond amazing. It's like a firework display on the 4th of July, bursting with passion and love every single day. 3 beautiful children fill our home and our hearts, making life an adventure that we never want to end. But there's also a secret lurking in the shadows, a car that appears at our house several times a month, signaling my wife's rendezvous with her college boyfriend. I know who he is thanks to my police friend who ran the plates. And even though it goes against everything I thought I believed in, I find myself strangely accepting of the situation, or maybe just numb to the pain of betrayal. Either way, it's a dark cloud that hovers over our otherwise perfect life. As I carefully considered my plan, the weight of it sat heavily on my chest. If she were to ever discover that I knew about her friends with benefits, my only course of action would be to tell her it was all fine, that our marriage was still perfect. The thought alone made me feel suffocated, like a tight grip around my heart. But I couldn't risk causing any drama for her, not when she had made it clear that this arrangement was necessary for our seemingly flawless relationship to continue. I couldn't help but wonder if anyone else had found themselves in a similar situation, feeling like a total outsider in my own marriage. Was I just being weird and overthinking things? My mind raced with questions and doubts as I tried to come to terms with the reality of our dynamic. Update number 1. The day has been filled with a flurry of conversations, each one bringing its own unique perspective and wisdom to the situation. My heart is overflowing with gratitude towards those who took the time to chime in. As I reflect on all that has been said, I am reminded of how much value I place on additional insights and perspectives. The final tally of tell her versus don't tell her left me bewildered, as I never could have anticipated such an almost even split. But then again, what did I expect? The love and support from this community continue to astound me. As for my decision, I find myself leaning towards telling her, but with a gentle and gradual approach and leading with love every step of the way. Throughout the day, my heart has been overwhelmed by waves of love for her and our life together. Every morning, I wake up grateful to be by her side, even through the past 2 years of knowing she was keeping this secret. My deep gratitude for her presence in my life has never wavered, despite what I now know. Edit. She's in a giddy and exuberant mood tonight, effortlessly gliding about the kitchen as she whips up a delicious dinner. The rich aroma of cooked food fills the air, mixed with the sweet scent of her favorite wine. Her laughter and chatter fill the room like a symphony, adding to the already lively atmosphere. Meanwhile, I've had a chaotic and unpredictable day, yet she remains unfazed and simply carries on with her cheerful demeanor. It's endearing to witness and only adds to her already wonderful and alluring nature. Thank you to everyone for your support and advice. I will keep you all updated in the future if there are any changes in this situation. For now, I have some gentle and non-invasive ideas in mind that may help improve things between us. Update number 2. My eyes snapped open at 4 a.m., the early morning light filtering through the windows. With a sigh, I sat up and reached for my phone, deciding to finally type out all that had been going on in my head. The past month has been a whirlwind of emotions and events for me. When I first wrote my post, I never imagined actually telling her. But life has a way of surprising us, and in the last few weeks, a series of events unfolded that led me to believe it was time to have that conversation. And last week, everything fell into place perfectly, allowing me to finally gather the courage to tell her. And so I did. In the weeks following my initial discovery, I found myself consumed by an obsessive hunt for clues to their routine. They would meet up on either a Tuesday or a Thursday, always at my house, for a brief 30 to 40 minutes. Each time, she would send me a carefully timed text in the late morning. "Hey, how's your day going?" A simple message, but one that served as a confirmation of my absence from home. Each time, I would frantically make my way to my car and drive up a side street to get a glimpse of them entering the house. Once they were inside, I would sneak over and cautiously listen for any telltale signs of their activities from the guest bedroom. On one occasion, after they had left, I couldn't resist the urge to enter my own home and investigate further. As I made my way through the rooms, I could hear the sound of the laundry machine running. Upon entering the guest bedroom, I noticed that the bed was freshly made with a new sheet. It was clear that this was not just a one-time occurrence. As if my voyeuristic actions weren't enough, I also found myself closely studying her phone habits. Despite her aversion to using her phone during family time, I couldn't help but notice her frequent use between sets while weightlifting in our basement on Sunday nights. The weight of my behavior began to weigh heavily on me. What had started as a quest for answers had turned into an unhealthy obsession that left me feeling guilty and unsettled. The events of this past Thursday seemed almost serendipitous, as if they were meant to guide me toward a now or never moment. It all started with a text message that I received at 10:30 in the morning. Without hesitation, I dashed out to my car and raced home, arriving by 10:45. Usually, my wife and her co-worker arrive around 11 for their lunch break. My wife starts work early at 6:30 a.m. As luck would have it, her co-worker arrived right on time, but my wife was 5 minutes late. They entered through the garage, like they always do, leaving the door open as usual. In a rush to beat the clock, I snuck into the house and narrowly avoided getting caught. But something seemed off. They were later than usual and in a frantic hurry. Upon re-entering the house after they left, I discovered that my wife had forgotten to change the sheets in the spare bedroom and start the laundry. In the laundry room, I found sheets, a pair of panties, and scrubs, almost as if it was fate. Without thinking, I started the washing machine and calmly sat down with a cup of coffee while I waited for it to finish. Half an hour later, I moved the laundry over to the dryer before returning to work with a sense of satisfaction lingering in my mind. As the day drew to a close and the sun began its descent behind the horizon, I found myself rushing to my child's dance class. It was a chaotic day as usual, with errands and chores filling up every spare moment. By the time I arrived home at 6:30, exhaustion threatened to overwhelm me. But as soon as I stepped through the door, I was greeted by my wife's panicked expression. She grabbed hold of my arms, her hands trembling, and looked into my eyes. "Did something happen today?" she asked urgently. At that moment, I knew that something had gone wrong. "Yes," I replied calmly. "I love you. Everything is fine. We will talk about it all later." And with those words, I reassured her that whatever had happened, we would face it together. After a quick kiss and some playful moments in the bathroom, we settled into our evening routine of cooking dinner and helping the kids with homework. But as soon as they were tucked into bed, we sat down and talked for 5 hours straight. My wife started off by asking how much I knew about the situation. I admitted that while I knew a lot, there were still gaps in my understanding, and despite everything, I made sure to tell her that I wasn't angry. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she shared the whole story with me, from discovering the laundry to feeling certain that our marriage was over before I came home. It was an emotional conversation, but we both felt relieved to finally be having it. We agreed that we needed a weekend of privacy to fully discuss everything, and thankfully, my mother-in-law offered to take the kids for 2 days. As they happily devoured pizza and ice cream bars at their grandparents' house, my wife and I huddled together in our home, facing our challenges head-on and reaffirming our love for each other. Despite the chaos and uncertainty of the day, we were determined to weather the storm together, stronger than ever before. After hours of digging and speaking with multiple sources, I have come to the following revelations. This has been going on since 2005, a fact I had not known before as it predates my relationship with her by 5 years. They dated back in 1996, but their relationship was rocky and fraught with issues. However, the physical chemistry between them was intense. After being married for 3 to 4 years, they reconnected and began an affair. She was single at the time, while he was still married. She admitted to me that she would have been content to continue this arrangement for many more years. During this time, she also casually dated others, but always kept him as her go-to for physical satisfaction. However, when she met me 10 years ago, everything changed. She fell deeply in love with me and gave me her entire heart. Despite this, she couldn't seem to break away from him, due to what she described as a magic hex of sexual chemistry between them. As for our children, I can rest easy knowing that they are undeniably mine. Throughout our struggles with conceiving, she never engaged in PIV intercourse with him. To my surprise, their marriage seems to be a happy one with a healthy sex life. My wife is not rescuing him from a dead bedroom. His wife remains blissfully unaware of their ongoing illicit relationship. The dynamic between them is purely physical, lacking any real emotional connection. It's a simple routine of, "Hey, how's it going? How's life? How are kids? Let's have sex now. All right, see you next time." My wife has made it clear that if they wanted something more serious, they would have pursued it long before we even met. The knowledge and experiences that I have are vast and complex, far beyond what could be captured in a simple list. However, one thing is certain, our passion knows no bounds. This past weekend, with the kids away, we shared intimate moments together over 10 times. I made it clear to her that I am completely comfortable with her continuing this relationship with him. My love for her surpasses any jealousy or possessiveness. She has been involved with this person long before we got married, and seeing her happy makes my heart sing. Her reaction was priceless when I shared my thoughts. After much contemplation, she ultimately decided to tell him about our arrangement. We discussed the options and agreed that it was entirely up to her whether she wanted to inform him or keep it between us. She took a day to weigh her decision and ultimately chose to reveal the truth to him. I gave her the freedom to invite him over on Sunday morning while I went for a long run. They had a chance to talk while I was out, and by the time I returned with the kids, he had left. Upon arriving home, My wife's emotions overcame her as she saw our children and realized the gravity of the situation. She shed tears of joy and relief while the kids excitedly ran off to play. My wife is a powerhouse, her body sculpted from years of weightlifting. Even in bed, we can't resist practicing Muay Thai holds, playfully teasing each other with our strength. But when she grabbed my head firmly in her hands, the force and emotion behind it caught me off guard. Tears welled up in both of our eyes and flowed freely down our cheeks. She stared into my soul, the intensity of her gaze unwavering as she spoke to me. "You have to listen to me," she said firmly. "I will never leave you, ever. I love you." Her words hit me like a ton of bricks, and I couldn't hold back the flood of emotion any longer. I broke down and sobbed uncontrollably. As I cried, she recapped their earlier conversation to me, reaffirming her love and dedication to our relationship. At that moment, I felt overwhelmed with gratitude for having such a strong and loving partner by my side. With a deep breath and a gentle tone, she initiated the conversation by reassuring him to stay calm, assuring him that everything was fine. However, with a sense of urgency, she felt it necessary to disclose that I had been aware of everything for quite some time. He responded with a simple "okay." She presented him with the option to continue, but stressed that at the end of their conversation, if he couldn't trust me, she would end things with him. "Again," he replied with a quiet "okay." So she began to relay the information I knew. The conversation stretched on for hours. On Sunday afternoon, she checked in on him. He explained that he does trust me, because if my intentions were malicious towards him, his life as he knew it would have crumbled long ago. He even asked her to pass along a message to me, that he trusts me and hopes that I can trust him as well. Knowing in my heart that he has no intention of stealing me away from my wife, and so we made a deal, both trusting each other. She has been more communicative than ever before, expressing her relief in recent days and feeling lighter now that everything is out in the open. She has shown me countless times how much she loves me. Though she still struggles with the weight of this revelation, it is all still so fresh for her, while I have been living with it for years. She is amazed at how unaffected I seem, but I tell her it's because we are together and she is by my side through it all, and she reaffirms our commitment. And that brings us up to date. A deep breath escapes as I finish recounting this journey. This is the end to this story. I don't know what to say in this story, as everything seems odd to me in this story. What do you guys think about this story? Please leave a comment down to tell me your reaction on the deal. Remember, I do not manipulate or add anything ourselves into these stories. The only edits made in these stories are grammatical or adding punctuation to have a clear-cut story. If you like real-life stories preserved in the archives of Reddit, make sure to like this video and subscribe to WTF Media